Thank you. Sheesh. Sorry, folks. Good evening, Sidetrack Sunday followers. Welcome to Sidetrack Sunday number 4 for the month of June 2025. How is it going, everybody? Hopefully, everybody's having a good start to the summer. I just got back from vacation. That's the reason why there wasn't a video out Friday. Family went out to Deep Creek Lake this past week. So, yep. Anyway, somebody is saying that they can't hear me. Really? Are we sure? Because when I checked, the audio was working. I am hoping it still is. If anybody can confirm that. Thanks, Dwight. messing with me already. I see. As it was, Ed and I were Ed over at Happy Valley Hobbies and I were having a interesting little conversation there in the chat. Thank you all for stopping in for this week's episode of Sidetrack Sunday, which got off to, as usual, got sidetracked as soon as we got started. I had issues, just so that everybody, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I uploaded to StreamYard my normal opening music for what I use for my episodes, for my vlogs. And I play that while the video is supposed to be playing. Well, yeah, I started the video on OBS and started the music and forgot to actually add the screen to the screen. So, anywho, had a restart. We got it taken care of. I knew the computer was going to be good because the computer was off for the week. So, at any rate. All right, before we get too much further, let's get into who all is hanging out in the chat tonight. Let's see who all's out there. And at the top, we've got Mr. Almar. We got Mr. Chuck Schreiber. We got Dan's Model Railroading Journey. We've got James over at the Dundas Junction Model Railroad. We got Mr. Floyd Robbins. We've got, more than likely, Rick over at the Fultz Bailey Model Railroad. We got JD over at Grandpa Rails. We've got Ed over at Happy Valley Hobbies. We've got Joe Rader over at the Black Rock Central. We've got Mr. Dwight over at the Curly Express. We've got Lynn McCurdy and the HDMMRC. We've got Bob over at PK&W Model Works. We've got me, although, as usual, I don't know if I'm here or not. We've got Mr. Ron Moen. We've got John number 2 over at the Schuylkill River Valley, and bringing up the end of the train, we've got Steve over at the Wigwag Workshop. Well, good evening, everybody, and again, welcome in to another wonderful installment of Sidetrack Sunday. All right, so like I said, hey, Beaumont Hills JP is in the house. And there's Ken's Back Shop. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. So I'm going to get into the topic that I actually had posted, which kind of goes off what Bob had kind of started last week, but mine goes in a slightly different direction. Dave, Sparky 107, 107's in the house. Goes in a slightly different direction. But at any rate, one of the things that I've been, obviously, as you all know, the things that I've been messing with lately, and I know some folks have been like, are you ever going to finish a project? Well, the way things are going, yeah, probably not. Anyway, basically, if you caught it, I did go ahead and record a video yesterday evening and let it run this morning. Actually uploaded it last night. and then set it up to be on the net this morning. And what it was the heavy haul train, run by over at Wykert Creek. That's the Central Valley Model Works Bridge, by the way. So that happens to have become my favorite rail fanning spot, is that bridge. Obviously, for the railroad, it is a signature piece. It's going to become even more signature once I finish the scenery around the daggone thing. But, we're going to get there. I'm going to try and get started on that possibly this week. It may end up not being until next week, and I'm being photobombed by Emma. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Rusty, welcome in. So, but that's basically what it is. Now, that project run by the unfinished dam scene. Yeah, you pretty much nailed that one, Joe. You got it. Yep. So, and yes, the puppy is behind me. There's a wild animal behind Ray. Well, the reason why she's down here is because of the fact that I disappeared for 4 days. Number one. Number two, it's cooler down here than what it is upstairs. Even though she was down in Texas for a long time, she apparently has adapted to our weather here. And exactly, Sparky. She's on the cold floor, which unfortunately is where I was earlier today, because of my own stupidity. But at any rate, so let me get into the topic that I wanted to hit on tonight, because I know that probably just about every one of us in here has done. Hey, Greg, welcome in. Hopefully things are doing okay for you, sir. Hey, Steve, 87 PSAP is in the house. Any rate, what I was getting at is projects or things that you've put together, or just your layout in general. Something that you thought you had fixed that has come back and reared its ugly head. And the reason why I bring that up is, hey, Anthony over to Georgia Sunbelt, welcome in. And is Deep Run Mike is in here. Nice. Evening, fellas. Any rate, I know Tammy and Ray were in here earlier, but I think that they may have bailed out. Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Hey, Steve, welcome in. Good to see you. I know you guys usually don't bounce in here. Good to see you. But anyway, getting back to the topic here real quick, is a project, or like I said, something that you've worked on that you thought you had, I've got this thing nailed down now, everything's going to be great, I won't have to worry about it. Well, I'm going to preface that with something on this railroad that has been a problem since the day I built it. And that would be the wonderful, wonderful Walther's 90-foot turntable. Question, has anyone used solder paste? Yes, I have. I've actually got a tube of it back on the workbench. I use that from time to time. I've also got, there's also a can of paste that I've got as well. I actually like the tube of it better because of the fact that it just works better. The thing of it is no matter what you do with that stuff, it gets all over everything. It really does. And it's hard as heck to get it. It's sticky. And that's the reason why, if you remember correctly, back when I was soldering my rails and soldering the wires to my rails, I was coming behind it with either the goof off or the odorless mineral spirits. to get that stuff off the rails, because if you leave it on the rails and you start running trains across it, it ends up on the wheels, and then you end up dragging it all over the place, and that's no good either. So it's obviously, just like everything else, a little bit of that goes a long way. But I digress. So the Yep. Absolutely, Sparky. So the Walther's 90-foot turntable. If anybody has had the, I'm not even going to say the pleasure of working on one, because, yeah, what they did, and I actually have the same problem with the diesel fueling facility as well. That one there, I think, can be an easier fix. But the turntable is a bit of a problem. What it is, or what they did, is they took and made the bridge deck, where the train or the locomotives actually come on to the turntable. Okay. They just give you the deck. There's no rails on that at all. You're supposed to take a piece of flex track or whatever and glue it to the deck. Glue it to the deck. I think the rails have been glued to that deck probably about 10 times since I've owned it. And it's just, yeah. Good evening, Dwayne over at the Fork and Spoon. Welcome in. And that thing has just been a thorn in my rear end since like I said, since the day I put it together. The rails don't stay stuck. They come loose. Don't glue to rails. It's not required. Not on this one, James. This one here, you had to glue them. There's nothing holding the rails to the deck. Trust me, there's nothing there. It's just a spot. They left you plastic, a solid piece of plastic that you're supposed to glue the rails to, and it don't work. Like I said, I can get it glued. It'll hold for maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then it'll come apart again. Then the new version has changed. More than likely, that this one here. Oh, when did I get that? I want to say I probably got that turntable back in the early 2000s. So it didn't come with rails or anything. So here's my thoughts. And you're going to hear more about this in this week's vlog. My thoughts is taking up the deck and actually taking a piece of flex track and gluing the plastic ties to the bottom of the deck itself with the rails attached, and then going ahead and just soldering the wire for the power underneath. So, that's kind of what my thoughts are. Super glue failed. I've tried crazy glue. I've tried CA. Yeah. I even think I tried Gorilla Glue at one point, and that didn't even hold it. So, it is what it is. I'll try and catch it, James. I'm on call this coming week. I start on call tomorrow morning, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it in or not, but I will keep that in mind. If not, I'll try to catch the replay. So that's one thing. And like I said, I've got the same issue with that diesel fueling or diesel facility as well. That one there, they actually gave you pegs to go ahead and snap the rails into, but they're so stinking far apart, but there's no way that the rail is ever going to stay engaged across that whole freaking thing. So, it is what it is. Just add the rails and no ties. Deep Run, there's another thing that just hit me. Instead of taking out where the ties are now, where the rails sit, instead of taking the whole thing out, maybe what I'll do is I'll take out like every fourth or fifth piece of plastic in that bridge deck, and then try to manipulate a piece of flex into that area to kind of help hold everything engaged. So, you know, there's got to be ways of doing it. I mean, it's just here it is. I hadn't really run the railroad in probably 2-3 months. And the other night I come down here to do an operations session, of course, by myself, but I come down here to do an op session, and I get over and I get over in the Beauville yard, and I go to pull a locomotive out, and the locomotive doesn't want it. It gets one truck on the bridge, and then it stops. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So the glue is not gluing to the plastic. It glues to the plastic. It's not gluing to the rails. And I've cleaned the rails as well. Hey, Digger Evans is in the house. So, you know, it's one of those things. There's got to be a solution to the problem. It's just one of those things that every time I've tried to fix the thing and I think I've got it, it rears its ugly head and says, nope, you ain't got it yet. So that's the reason why I figured I'd bring it up here. And like I said, kind of going off of what, Bob was talking about last week with all the different projects and things, I've got quite a few projects on the docket that I want to get done. But, when you don't run the railroad for a bit, you come across these little idiosyncrasies, like I said, that you thought you had fixed. They're not fixed. That was two of the problems. Like I said, the one I think is easier to fix than the other one. Maybe install some solder ties in a few key spots. That's kind of what I was just thinking, Bob, is if I took out a couple of the ties that are actually in that bridge deck and left the rails tied to them, in other words, take out like every fifth or sixth one to help hold the rails in alignment, but still will make it look like it was a part of I might be able to work on something to get it straightened out. So, it might, it's one of those things. I've got a piece of track sitting over there that's long enough that I just have to manipulate the ties in, and then I have to work on the bridge. It's one of those things when I'd like it to work. Yes, I would love it to freaking work when I come down here and want to run a train. I've got other things that I want to get into these days, and that a lot of it's that scenery work that I want to get done. That's over my left shoulder here. So, there's got to be a more permanent fix to that. And like I said, the diesel servicing facility, that one there bothers me, but that one there, it doesn't seem to affect the trains that much. I just happened to notice it. That they were that the rails were loose in there the other night. I just snapped them back into place. That one I think will be a little bit easier if I go ahead and actually glue down the diamond plate that's supposed to be the either side of the rail and down the middle of the rail. So I'll see how that one works out. That one there I never really finished. I put it together, but I never really finished it. It was close, but take away my man card. But what do the instructions say? Laugh out loud. You know what? I don't think I've got the instructions anymore, Deep Run, but I believe they did say that you're supposed to glue rail down to that piece of plastic. That's what it said. And like I said, it just hasn't worked. The issue, hold on. I'm going to get this right. The issue, Rail Artist Mike, is the fact that it's not the leads into the roundhouse, it's into the turntable. It's the turntable deck itself. So it's not the tracks on the outside. It's the actual track on the deck. So I'll have to go back and see if I can find. I'm sure I've got the instructions down here for it someplace if I didn't throw them out by now. So anyway, that was issue number 1 and issue number 2. Issue number 3 really had me puzzled. This one, you'll enjoy this one. I know that I know that Joe's talked about this one before. It's all right, Mike. It's perfectly understandable, Railers. It's all good. No, I'm talking about the deck on the bridge turntable, or the turntable bridge itself. So, any rate, hey, Caboose 121 is in the 1973. Dave is in the house. Call Walters and see if you can get a new deck. Yeah. Well, we'll see about. I could probably try that, Joe. The last time I tried reaching out to them, they never got back a hold of me. So, it is what it is. Of course, that was because I was looking for the gears for the Proto 2000 locomotives, but that's another story for another time. So, like I said, the diesel fueling facility with the rails, and then the bridge on the turntable, that was 2. Number 3 was really, really fascinating. This one here really got me. The switch locomotive down in Beauville would run great in reverse, ran like crap in forward. I'm like, what is wrong with this thing? Well, I think I may have tried that, Rail Artist. And at this point, I mean, like I said, there's been glue. I took the glue off, put new glue on. I even think I replaced the rails at one point. And yeah, no no help there either. Trust me, I've been over that thing numerous times, and it'll work for a couple of months, and then they just pop out of there. So I don't know what the deal is. So, all right. So anyway, the Athearn switch locomotive ran great in reverse, ran like crap in forward. And I'm like, all right, what is wrong with this thing? Exactly. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring it up. Absolutely, Dave. That's the reason why I wanted to bring it up. The thing is, I've tried, obviously haven't worked. Maybe somebody else has run into it. And see if we can come up with a solution as a community, and see if we can get the daggone thing fixed permanently. Yeah. Might want to get a new one and start over. I hope not. That daggone thing wasn't cheap. Or at least get a new bridge deck. Anywho, so I take said switch locomotive back to the bench, and realize that it's got a problem that Mr. Joe Rader over at the Black Rock Central has brought up to me a couple of different times, and I think he's actually brought it up on his videos as well. And that is the fact that I think it was the first generation Athearns and the second generation Athearns, which were the ones that the first generation would have been the rubber band drives. The second generations were the ones that came out right after it. If you're not familiar with that generation, what it is instead of the gear case, the flat spot on the truck actually clipping to it, it was more like an older Atlas drive, where you had ears that came off the truck that the truck cover slipped into and then snapped in on the other side. All right. Yeah, exactly, JP. Like I said, I'm just looking for anything. So, any rate, when I get it back to the bench, I realized that this thing being a second generation locomotive still has its wonderful steel wheels. That's issue number one. And that's it. Rick's trains, welcome in. And I had not tried a 2-part epoxy. That would probably do it too. So, any rate, like I said, I get it back to the bench and realize that the wheels on this thing are basically just, they're done. They are so full of junk. I don't know how the thing was running good in one direction and not in the other direction. So I don't know. I have no idea how it was running at all. Hey, Jason, Colonel Cotton Belt is in the house. Let's see. My turntable, the 130, has been boxed since last layout. I'll get to install it one day, one decade down the road. Or a century at my rate. Yeah, I hear you. So, any rate, so basically hey, Randall Ellison is in the house. So, any rate, what I basically did is I just took it back to the bench. I cleaned the wheels up real good with the odorless mineral spirits, which obviously took the garbage right off of them. And, it's been out here and it's running just fine now. So eventually that is one thing I am going to have to do for that locomotive. My one nickel plate road and the Beauville and Newtown PA1. Those are all second generation Atherns and they've all got the stained steel wheels. Those things need to go. I mean, there's no question. They'll run fine for a while, and then, yeah, the thing of it is steel does not conduct electricity very well. Burnsy's O-scale model trains. Welcome in. There's a new fella. Welcome in. Appreciate you being here. So, but that's basically the end of that. I mean, that one there was just... Yeah, that's the thing that really got me, Anthony, is the fact that it would go great in one direction, but it just was not happy going in the other direction. No idea. I cannot explain that one. As dirty as those wheels were, it shouldn't have ran in either direction. But it was running in one direction, not the other. And because it's in the yard, it's got to run in both. It is what it is. So to the last neat little caveat here. So as most of you probably saw this morning, I went ahead and put up the short for the hey, take it easy, Floyd. I put up that short about the long haul or the heavy haul loco or the heavy haul train battery power, just saying, yeah, okay. So like I said, I went to run the heavy haul train last night and wasn't thinking. Let's just put it that way. So I've got the thing staged in the north yard, which would be Harrisburg heading south. So I'm sitting there, I get the train all together, and I go ahead and start running it south, and it won't go. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I'm like, all right, well, this is weird. And I kept flicking the toggle switch for that particular track, and nope. Hey, Rodney, welcome in. I kept turning the dead track on and off, trying to maybe the contacts inside of the DPDT or the SPS went bad or what have you. Still could not get the daggone thing. I had to push it past, the dead track to get it to go. All right, this is a little strange. So I got it down to the bridge, and you all saw what happened from there. So today, after I made a run out, I had a run out this morning. I came back and I pulled the totes out from underneath this end of the layout, which is where all the wiring is for the 2 hidden staging yards. And I'm up underneath there with a flashlight, and I'm looking, I'm checking, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with the wiring up underneath of here. What the heck's going on? So I come back up top, and I'm looking at the yards, and I go, well, it just goes to show when you don't run your railroad for a while, you forget where you are. So here it is. I was flipping the dip switches or flipping the dead track switches for the south yard and not the north yard. Yeah, you can flip the ones for the south yard all they want. There was no power over there at all. So, yeah, that one there was just a brain fart on my side. So it was just one of those things where that was good, right? Yeah, you like I said, you could have flipped those switches, on that side and for all you wanted to, and yeah, it wasn't going to work. It's amazing what happens when you actually go over to the other side of and turn on the power pack and turn on the right DPD, and it starts. Yeah, the train starts moving. Yeah. So needless to say, I went ahead and put everything back up underneath the layout, and I'm like, all right, now we're just going to go and run some trains. Yeah, operator error. Absolutely. It's called old age. And like I said, the fact that I hadn't really run the railroad in, like I said, a couple of months easy. That's a good one, Steve. I like that one. And I've done that before too, Bob. Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that all of us have left a screwdriver, a pair of tweezers, a hammer, something metal across the freaking rails, and cannot for the life of us figure out why a train won't freaking move. Here he goes again. Battery powered, just saying. Uh-huh. The cat did it. I could blame Emma, but yeah, she's still underneath the table down here sleeping. Trip pins. Wait a minute. Steve, now you know why I don't have a problem like you do today. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that one there was just flat operator error. That was a goof on yours truly, and like I said, even the best laid plans, man, you don't mess around with these things for a while. You forget what was I doing? It would help. It would probably would make sense if I actually labeled the damn switches. That would have helped me realize that, hey, dummy, you're flipping the wrong freaking ones. The dog did it. Oh my, we helped the signal maintainer jump the rails and change the rail. Oh goodness. Any rate, so that's basically just blame me and go about your business. I admit it, I did it. Oh my gosh, what a crew. Oh. So the shorting thing is one thing I don't worry about when you build HM metal wheels, because they all have also metal wheels. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you end up with a short, you know it. So anyway, beyond those little idiosyncrasies, I did find one more, which was another. I wouldn't call this one an oops. It was one of the things that I had noticed a while back, and I just kept forgetting that now I'm actually at the point I could do something about it. And what am I talking about here? Well, I've got I think it's an SD24 that's painted up for the Southern. It's a it's a 6-axle diesel. Okay. So on either truck, you got 3 axles. I've always considered that to be that I had that on the local side. I figured, you know what, this is a good locomotive for the locals. And then I realized, and I had issues with this before, Beauville Yard is really tight, radius-wise. It's 18-inch radius in there. And, you know, that SD24, it handles it. It don't like it. It handles it. Well, today I had to, it's a high nose. It's a high nose, and I run that one just like the Southern would. I run it long nose forward. So yes, 18-inch radius and HO. Yep. Anthony Borden, welcome in. Long time, sir. Yeah, that is JP. That is. Let me back up since you went ahead and put that into the chat. This statement here. Let me get back to it. There we go. 18 inches in HO. Yes. The main lines on this railroad are 22-inch radius, both directions. The staging areas underneath of Beauville for the passenger trains are 22-inch radius. The S-curves in the hidden area are 22-inch radius. So everything outside of Beauville Yard is 22-inch radius. The 2 leads, I guess you could say, into Beauville Yard are 18. The only other tighter radius that I actually have on this railroad is on the interurban, and that's 15-inch radius. But the only thing that's ever going to be up there is going to be streetcars and things of that nature. So I'm not worried about that. Those have got a very short wheelbase, so those aren't a problem. So anyway, that SD24, like I said, it'll handle the 18-inch radius, but it's not happy with it. Oh, really, Dave? Picking on me? So, at any rate, so the day I decided, because of the fact that one of our community members was rather kind at the end of last year and sent me another locomotive. That was the Western Maryland SD40-2. So I now have another, what I call long haul or road, heavy haul diesel. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to take the SD24 from being used on the local switching runs and actually putting that on the through freight runs. So that way it's not going to be anywhere near that 18-inch radius going forward. So that works out for the time being. I mean, I don't run any of the 6-axle diesels into the yard, into Beauville Yard, I should say. Beauville Yard, that's that way. We're just here so I don't get, oh, brother. Yeah, I know, Sparky, that I've got a face for radio. Anyway, so the SD24 is going to be moved over to through freight service instead of local freight. Yeah, your other left. Exactly, Jason. So that's been my adventures before I went on vacation and when I came back from vacation. So I know what you mean, Steve. I'm here for court-ordered community service. Jeez. Thanks a lot, buddy. Sparky paid me to watch. That's even better. I would imagine the coffers are getting a little thin there, aren't they, Sparky? Jeez. You are a mess. Jeez. You know, I could go elsewhere for this abuse. It wouldn't be as much fun, but I could go elsewhere for it. Oh, man. Any rate, there is one other thing I wanted to, and of course, this is going to drive me absolutely bonkers because it's probably going to be in the way, but it is what it is. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this a little bit better. Maybe. Maybe not. As the overhead camera decides it wants to just be in view, period. It wants its own cameo. Oh, let's see here. If I don't watch, Ray will come over and TP my house. Hey, are you going to get the Conrail E44? I wouldn't mind an E44. I've got an E33. But I probably wouldn't, not in Conrail colors. Sorry. I came for the layout curtains. Oh. What's with Dave? He's not here to keep an eye on Ray. That's a full-time job, guys. Come on. Any rate, I'm trying to see if I can get this to do what I want it to do. Probably not, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. Let's see. Configure video. Let's go ahead and do a zoom. That almost looks good. Almost. As long as I go in the right damn direction, we'll be in great shape. Hey. And if it quits jumping, we'll be even better. All right. DB Tech threatened my shot. That didn't work out. Oh, boy. Anthony, it is one of the things that I've actually been thinking about, and well, let's just say for a very future project, I started 3D printing some stuff for doing catenary. Egging has stopped because of the cost. Yeah, no kidding. You enjoy that. Dave's a great guy. Oh, man. All right, so let me go ahead and get to the overhead camera so you can see what I was. Now, I just printed this out. You know what? I'm just going to have to take myself off the screen here somehow. Let's wait a minute. There's going to be a way I can. All right, we'll just do it this way. There we go. Instructions for the turntable. You know what? I'm going to have to make sure I go back and catch that. Let's see what happens if I do this. I don't know if it's actually going to work or not, but we'll try it. I've got that starred. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Can't type that fast. Instructions. All right. So I just got finished printing this out earlier today. This here is actually a 2-track tunnel portal. It took it, I think, about an hour and a half, maybe a little longer, to print out. This is the main piece. I mean, this is pretty thick here too. I've got a ruler, but I don't have a tape measure. Let's see. So the print is about 3/8 of an inch, well, maybe a little bit thicker than that. But again, the detail on this for what it is. No, this is 3D printed, Bob. This is 3D printed as a 2-track tunnel portal. So yeah, it's block. So this is, like I said, when I first downloaded this, it actually had it printing this way, and I was like, "There's no way that's never gonna work." So what I did is I rotated it to where it was from this down to where it was flat, which worked out obviously a lot better. With the program that obviously came with the 3D printer itself. But I'm quite impressed with the block work on this. This really looks pretty good. Obviously, I'm going to have to take it back to the bench. It's going to have to be cleaned, and then it's going to have to be primer coated. And then I'll go ahead and I'll paint it the same color as probably some of the other stonework that I've got going on the railroad. Is there a time capsule in one of those blocks? There is not a time capsule in the block. Sorry, I don't know if they did that. Do you have to? No, actually, these here, if you look close enough, if it'll do it, the mortar lines are there. Yep, they're the mortar lines. The mortar lines are all there. The only thing I don't really like about this, looking at it since it printed, is the fact that the blocks are all in a row. They're not offset. So that's the only real downfall to it. Unlike the one that I scratch did, the wall that I went. Oh, on the inside of the arch, no, there's no scribe lines here. I could do that though, Bob. I very well could do that. That would probably not be too hard to do. And going back to what Jason was asking about a time capsule, being in here, there isn't a time capsule on one of the blocks, but I could probably do something like that. Yeah, that's what I thought, Jason. I thought it was weird that they weren't offset either. But then again, where this is going to end up, because I just wanted to see what it looked like, where this is going to end up is actually going to be on the backside of Newton's farm, on the backdrop, where the hidden yard, where you come out from Harrisburg, or you go into the backdrop go into the backdrop going into Harrisburg, or coming out from, did I screw that up twice? No, I didn't. Coming out from, coming south from Harrisburg, or going north into Harrisburg. So, yeah. So that's where this is going to be. So it doesn't have to be, 100%. So, yeah, I'm quite pleased with that, though. Otherwise, I mean, I thought it looked pretty daggone good. Let's see. Ray, could you mass produce some of the catenary? I had to go to Model Memories for catenary, looking for substations, Northeast Corridor. You could print those. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that point. Anthony, to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of the stuff, in fact, everything that I've printed out off of that Anycubic printer that I've got, all that stuff has either come from Thingiverse or one of the other 3D print sites that people have already put together. So, you know, because I'm still learning, I'm not a cat. I think I mentioned it when I first got the 3D printer. The last time I messed with CAD was electronics CAD, and that was back in '92, where you got to drop in resistors and capacitors and transformers and things of that nature into a circuit to see how the circuit was going to work before you actually soldered anything to a breadboard. So, you know, that was the last time I really had anything to do with CAD. So, you know, it is what it is. I would have loved to. I'm not that far from the Northeast Corridor. I'm about probably 20 minutes to a half an hour at worst. That I could go in there and take some pictures of some of the stuff that's down outside of Martin State Airport, which is the easiest place to get to for the Northeast Corridor for me. Todd Armstrong, welcome in. See, and everybody else was talking about the fact that they were paid to be here, and Todd just comes in here and says, "Hey, I want to know where all the cool kids are." And you know what, Digger? I do agree. It is another tool. There's no question. I mean, here it is. Somebody took the time to put something like this together, and I could always go back and start modifying that file and come up with something on my own. There's nothing saying that I couldn't do that. In fact, I actually did that with the cable reels that I had, because it only printed out 2 of them, and I wanted 6. So I modified the file to go ahead and print out some more. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You need to reload. Oh my goodness! Yeah, the thing of it is, Todd, they've been, everybody has been in here messing with me for the last 45 minutes or so. It's all good. It's typical. It's absolutely typical. I wouldn't have it any other way. So that's basically it. I do want to, and obviously we've talked about this off and on for the last couple of months. I'm sorry, my sinuses are driving me crazy. Any rate, I want to get I want to get the scenery done over this way. I want to get that done, that hill. And I actually make mention in the next episode that'll be coming up this Friday. One of the guys that's local to me, and I have yet to catch up with him. Joe, you think you and I are bad? We hadn't talked to each other, hadn't actually met each other in like 3 or 4 years of being on here. Here it is. I've known Ted through Facebook for about 6, and I still haven't seen his layout. Of course, then again, he hasn't been over here to see this one either. But at any rate, you know, I'm hoping to get some stuff done on that this week, or possibly even next week. But Ted has done some things on his Western Maryland layout that I'm thinking about using on that hill. That hill, that one, it's over there. So, but he's actually got some hill scenes where he's put lichen and some small trees and things of that nature. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to try that on This thing! My other left. Any rate, the house upon the hill. Yeah, no, not that house. Goodness knows when we're going to get back to that, JD. I have no idea when we're going to get to that. No, he doesn't owe me money. It's just the fact that he's a dispatcher. He's for the Baltimore City Fire Department. And I know he works some really long and odd off-the-wall hours. And I think that was one of the reasons why him and I haven't had a chance to catch up. The other issue is he had a, kind of like myself, he had a senior dog. It was a pug. And unfortunately, I think right around the time that Joe, I'm sorry, lost Jack, he lost Coco. It was probably within a couple of weeks. So, it was, so at any rate, he was spending a lot of time with his dog, which is completely understandable. I did the same thing with Beethoven. Absolutely. So at any rate, eventually him and I are going to catch up. Hopefully we'll be able to do that after the fall train show in October. Hey, Ron, which I do believe is still October 25th and 26th. Let me go ahead and pull it up, because if you look at one website, it tells you one thing. If you look at another, it tells you something completely different. Let's see here. Which one is this? And that was the old one. The next show is October 25th and 26th. There we go. I got it. So hopefully, and just so that everybody is aware, we've got the great, I know that Sparky's got a meet and greet coming up here very shortly. We're going to, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make that one. I think Sparky's is in August, I believe. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make that one. Just too many things going on. At any rate, but the next one for me will be in October of this year. Hope you don't mind me posting. Just want to tell everyone, please support Sparky. Yeah. No, absolutely. No. Absolutely. It's all good. I do not mind stuff being cross-posted. In fact, that's the way we get things. That's the way we keep things going. But, it's all good. All the different meet and greets. If anybody's got something going on, don't be afraid to put it in the chat. So, Ray, do you use Tinker? I downloaded a program. I don't remember which one it is, Anthony, to be honest. And I just haven't had a chance to mess with it. I really haven't had the chance to mess with it. So, yeah, August 22nd and 20th to the 24th. That is Sparky's meet and greet up in Toronto, Canada, up in the Great White North. Meshy AI instead of Tinker. Okay. I'll have to take a look at that too. A lot of J's in here. Yes, there are. There's a lot of Johns. Yep, the JDs. So I'm hoping you do, JD. I'm hoping you do get over here in October. That would be cool. That would be absolutely awesome. The funniest thing of it is apparently the last time that you and I actually hung out in person was up in Steamtown. That was back in 2019. Yeah, well, I would hope not, Jason. I hope not. Oh boy. Yes, it has been way too long. I'm telling you, again, anybody, I mean, obviously the meet and greets, whenever there's a meet and greet, and if it's close to you, go to it. Hang out with us. Absolutely hang out. It's great to be able to hang out at the train shows, go back and see the photos, see some layouts. It's an absolute blast to hang out with you all in person. I think most folks in here I've hung out with at some point. Ron over at the Southwest Railroad, Bob up at PK&W, JD I've hung out with, Sparky I've hung out with. Let's see, Rodney I've hung out with. Who else is in here that I'm probably missing? Because I know I'm going to miss somebody. Joe, obviously, hung out with him. Him and I now, we know we're 5 minutes apart. It's like we're constantly, hey, what are you up to? Which I haven't been over to his place in a bit, but I'll get there. We'll get back together again. We'll get it back together again. I got to do a meet and greet at Flying Crows. It was me, Robert, and Steve Childers. Nice. Wife did that trip a couple years. Yep, absolutely. Anthony goes ahead and puts up the $500 question. Ding, 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 ding. As a matter of fact, I have the hotel booked for next year up in Amherst. I will be there. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on getting the train tickets, and then I'm going to work on getting the tickets for the show. So I'm working on bringing Jack, and that'll be a blast. Looks like Ray needs a 700 sub giveaway. So yes, we will. The wife and I we're going to be going up to Amherst next January. I'm really looking forward to the trip. We're going to take the train up and back. I believe the plan is, which we haven't, like I said, we haven't booked it yet. We're planning on taking the train up on Friday and then coming back sometime Monday. I kind of figured give ourselves a little bit of time to be able to decompress before we get on the train to come back south. Now, some folks would be like, why didn't you just fly up? Look, January on the East Coast of the United States is not the time to be flying. It's really, really unpredictable. I know that the folks up in Massachusetts deal with this stuff. They deal with the snow and the ice all the time. That's not the problem. Down here, Dulles, BWI, JFK, they don't deal with it all the time. And I don't want to take the chance. So, we're going to go ahead and go up by rail. So that's what we're going to do. So, and thank you all. I appreciate it. Yeah, I did hit 700 subscribers within the last week. Really, really cool. Do both trips, Ray. Like I said, Sparky, I would love to come up there in August. The thing of it is I've got family coming in from Germany the end of July. Hey, Frank, Steeler fan, long time no see, buddy. I've got family coming. Well, it's my wife's family coming in from Germany at the end of July. Then we get like 4 days, and then we're going out. We're going to be doing another trip. So it's like for me, it's back-to-back vacations, and I just can't we've got a lot of stuff going on. I know you can relate to this, Sparky. I know that it's been one of those things. There's this thing that's called work that you have to do to pay the bills. So, and we've got quite a bit of stuff coming up at work. So yeah, I'd love to be able to come up, but you know, I just don't think it's going to be in the cards. Derek Alexander, welcome in. So yes, I am a part of the 700 Club finally. Another 300 to go to the big milestone. I want to try to get up to 1,000. I was hoping to be there by the end of the year, but they just kind of trickle in. The subs just kind of just trickle in. There ain't no, you can't push it. They come as they come. Yeah, I hear you, Dave. Trust me, man. I'd love to be able to get back up there, but I just don't. I just can't. I can't swing it, my friend. I just can't swing it. The timing just isn't good. I apologize, bud. I apologize, bud. Who laughs at whose jokes? Oh, man. So anyway, it is now 5 after 9. I need to wrap this up because my first day back to work is tomorrow morning after basically a week off, which was great. You have to work to pay bills? Yeah, unfortunately, Joe, yes, I do. Yes, I do. So, any rate, what we've got going on next week is going to be Brian over at the Iron Horse. Not sure what he's got. Not sure what he's got going on next week, but he should be here at 8 o'clock. So, you all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Green tracks ahead. Be safe. God bless. We'll catch you all next time. See ya.